Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Saturday, the 18th of June. But first, a quick recap. Well, disappointed though. The first horse was a non-runner, and the last horse was a 10-1 winner. But in between, it was very disappointing. The horses just didn't run as well as what I thought they would. They was going to. Sorry, never eat chocolate just before a video. Right, what I'm doing the same as Friday. I'm putting two separate bets on. Well, it's the same bet, but twice. What I'm doing is it's a 10 pence each way, lucky 63 twice. One of the bets I'm taking the prices, the other bet I'm taking SP. So let's get into the selections. And a bit further down, I'm also going to give you two horses in two races, and I'm going to do a pound each way doubles. And I'm also having the same horses in a reverse forecast in those races. So let's get into it. So the first selection is Indian Renegade at 28-1 in the 132 at Newmarket. This 2-year-old by Richard Handon ran nothing more than okay when it was fancied to do a little bit better than that in quite a hot race last time. Well, in this race today, there are very few horses that have had a run. Well, sometimes the disappointing Handon 2-year-olds can quickly bounce back. Well, it was 8-1 in its race last time. I do think experience could tell. Don't get me wrong, it could be a donkey. I don't think it is, and that's the reason why I've had this horse. Obviously, there's quite a few horses, 2-year-olds in this race that haven't ran yet, so I'll go in by reputation only. And I think 28-1 is far too big a price. The second selection is Dark Jedi at 20-1 in the 259 at Ayr, paying 4 places instead of 3. The Easterbees, and this is all the Easterbees, generally do well June onwards. Well, this horse has been a little bit disappointing so far, although it's shown a little bit of form in its few runs this season. It normally wins a race a season. I think 20-1 is too big a price. It's been running in decent races, sometimes about this level, sometimes slightly better, and I do think it's got a much better chance than the 20-1 represents. The third selection is Ambidue at 50-1, and this could well be a non-runner, but if it isn't, it's a very interesting selection. It ran today, as in Friday, at Royal Ascot. Generally always outpaced, stayed on late on. Well, the rating of this horse, I think it's either 83 or 84. Well, there's a couple of horses rated around about 90. But generally, they're all rated similar to each other. And I just think, because of the amount of duck eggs at the side of its name, or 5th, 7th, I think it's been quickly overlooked. Well, I do think it's got half a chance. Well, these Scott Dixon horses do tend to run pretty well, where they keep turning them out and churning them out all the time. So with it running on Friday, don't get me wrong, it could easily be a non-runner. But I think at 50-1, it's far too big a price. The fourth selection is First Folio at 11-1 in the 5 o'clock at Ascot, paying 8 places instead of 4. Well, this is drawn, I think it's 15. And I do think this draw bias that I mentioned, it's actually swinging slightly the other way now, because they do seem to be coming from higher numbers a bit more often. Don't get me wrong, it's more like they are running well low numbers, but it's more like middle to the occasional high. Well, this horse is drawn pretty much smack in the middle. It's just running to form. It's only ran 2 times. I do like Daniel Muscat as a jockey, and is it James Ferguson? Seems a very astute trainer, and I think 11-1, it's a decent price, especially Thursday, which it looks clearly like it's been completely lined up for this race. The 5th selection, in probably the most competitive race, or second most competitive race of the day, is Aldous Huxley at 10-1 in the 5:35 at Ascot, paying 6 places instead of 4. Well, I'm not sure, but if anybody wants to tell me about Aldous Huxley, if it's the guy I'm thinking of, it's a very topical horse for me, because I am very interested in, let's call it 1984. So if you are as well, leave a little note in the comments. Maybe Charlie Winters has got a little bit more in common than what we first thought with a few of the subscribers, eh? But anyway, going off track slightly. Aldous Huxley at 10-1 in the 5:35 at Ascot. This horse, I honestly believe, I know it's top weight, but I think it's completely different class to these. Don't get me wrong, it could get beat, but it ran in soft ground at Goodwood last time. It was keen, it led, set a pretty steady pace, but still ran a decent race. But just click on its form, and it's in and around some extremely good horses. It's either beat them or finished just behind them. Take a look at the form for yourself and tell me what you think. But personally, I think this horse, to say it's only, I think it's 3 runs, could be and is completely different class to anything in this race. I think there's only about 5 or 6 in with a chance in this race, and a lot of them are like so many question marks. I know Godolphin have got quite a few in this race, and basically this horse could be actually put in there just to keep the weights down for the other horses. But I don't think that's the reason. I think it's got bundles of scope in my opinion, and I think it's got a cracking chance. The final selection is Falcon 8 at 11 to 2 in the 10 past 6, paying 4 places instead of 3. This horse comes over from Ireland, having run well over jumps. It's run very well at Ascot in the past, also winning the Ascot Stakes. Also been down the field at Ascot in the past, but it said it didn't like the soft ground then. Well, it's certainly not soft ground this time. I think 11 to 2 represents okay value. Nothing more than that, but I do think it's got a winning chance. Trushan should potentially be a different class to these. That's the favourite in the race, but it may get beat, and I think if it gets beat, Falcon 8 could well be one of those. It ran behind Cleveland when I tipped Cleveland. We're about 7 to 1 at Chester. It was never put in the race that day. So that's the 10 pence each way lucky 63 where I've taken the prices. The next bet is another 10 pence each way lucky 63 with exactly the same horses, but I've taken SP. Right. The next bet, I've had £1 each way doubles. I've had first folio, but I've also gone for another danger in the race where I've stuck by what I've said, where I think high numbers could be getting into it a bit more. I think Jumbie is drawn 31. Well, William Buick could have pretty much had the choice of any runner in this race, in my opinion. But he generally rides this horse. He's rode it about 3 or 4 times. He rode it, I think, was it either last time or the time before when I tipped it, and it had a poor start. Well, it's clear that it's probably been lined up for this race again. So I think both horses have got a cracking chance. So if one of them wins, they've got a right rollover onto the next horse. And those next horses are Aldous Huxley in the 5.35 and Chairman in the 5.35, which both represent great value. So £1 each way doubles. So I think probably if either of them win in each race, you're probably talking between £120 and £200, which would be very nice. But don't get me wrong, there's 30 runners pretty much in each race, but I do like the selections. And I've stuck by my opinion, and I've also gone, basically what I've done is, keep these low stakes, I've used the remnants of what's left in my account. I think it was only £1.80, so I've had 2.45 pence each way, not each way, 2.45 pence reverse forecasts. I've had a 45 pence reverse forecast, first folio and Jumbie. Then with the remainder, I've had another 45 pence reverse forecast, Aldous Huxley and Chairman. And those are all my bets for Saturday. There might be a chance if I get involved in the golf where I might give you an each way selection should these run well. If they don't, the next selections will be Monday, where already I've seen a horse called Nelson Gay which I'm interested in. It ran well at Epsom last time where it liked cover, but it forced the pace in a race where the pace collapsed, and this was the only horse that kept with the pace. You might remember it's where Mr. Wagyu came from miles behind at Epsom. Well, I'll be keeping a close eye on it. It could well be a non-runner come Monday, but I'll be keeping a close eye out. So don't forget, if Saturday selections run well and there's a decent return, I should be having an interest in the golf ready for Saturday night, Sunday night. So the very best of luck. If you've got any fancies for Saturday, let me know in the comments. If you've lasted this long, and what is it, 9 minutes now, give me a like or even subscribe to the channel, and you'll get a notification about the selection on Monday. So fingers crossed, have a cracking weekend. And if you're like me currently, I'm sat on my bed, giving these tips out, absolutely sweltering. The very best of luck. Charlie Winters over and out. Cheers, mate.